Bring in our guest this morning, Akshata, joining us, Professor Badri Narayan, columnist, political analyst, Rashid Kidwai sitting right next to me, author, political analyst, Raghav Avasthi, political analyst, member, manifesto, subcommittee of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Shantanu Gupta, political analyst and author. Rashid, let me begin with you. What are you looking at this morning? Of course, Karnataka, number one. What happens with the JDS? But if we leave Karnataka away, the second phase of polling, 88 seats, 13 seats. For me, personally, Rashid, what I'd be looking at is what will be the voting percentage by the end of day, because we saw a 4% drop in phase one. What are you looking at?
Absolutely, Preeti. I think this has become a very crucial aspect of this election, vote percentage, and the ruling BJP, is quite worried about this, that if there is less percentage, why is it so? Because there is, Ram Mandir euphoria, there is Modi ki guarantee, Prime Minister Modi is there, opposition in disarray. Even then, in spite of that, if people are not voting, not coming in great number, then this is a real cause of worry. Just one little point about Karnataka, the huge battle is also, within the Congress. If Vokalika votes actually get, the Congress beats JDS in that game, then DK Shivkumar will become as a claimant. There is a thing, a buzz in the Congress that if 8-9 seats come to Congress, then DK Shivkumar will become a claimant and a challenge. Right. Whether Mr. Siddaramaiah is going to concede that space to him or not, that's a matter of we need to look at wait for it.
All right, Raghav Avasthi, very good morning, sitting right in the studio with us. What are you looking at this morning where the second phase is concerned? I think, what are you going to keenly look at in terms of developments?
I think as far as the second phase is concerned, especially in Karnataka, I think there were some pointers during the assembly election results wherein the combined vote share of the BJP and JDS was much higher than the Congress. So I think it made arithmetic sense for that alliance to be concluded. There is, of course, always this sense of doubt up until the last vote is cast as to whether one's vote whether the JDS voters will transfer their votes to the BJP and vice versa. But arithmetically, the BJP-JDS alliance does look quite formidable, and especially since there is a lot of dissension within the ranks in Karnataka, because everybody knows Mr. DK Shivkumar made a statement the other day that if they want to make him the chief minister, they should vote for his brother. So he
said he will become the chief minister.
There is open season when it comes to dissent in the Karnataka Congress, and they are a divided house. On the other hand, the opposition from the assembly elections is united. So I think the prognosis is very, very optimistic. One more point about the turnout, right? We talk a big talk about how the BJP only wins when the turnout is high. But that's actually statistically not correct.
No, yeah,
statistically not correct. In Chhattisgarh, for example, from 2018 to 2023, the turnout went down. The Congress party was the incumbent and the BJP won. I'm just going to interrupt,
Raghav. We're getting a live reaction from Pinarayi Vijayan. We'll cut across to that. The Kerala CM speaking. I'll translate.
UDF-ന്റെയും പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് കോൺഗ്രസിന്റെയും ബിജെപിയുടെയും നേതൃനിര ഒരേ മനസ്സോടെ അണിനിരന്നിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്നത് നമുക്കെല്ലാം അനുഭവത്തിലുള്ള കാര്യമാണ്.
സിഎം ഈ പൗരത്വ ഭേദഗതി നിയമം നടപ്പിലാക്കിയതിനു ശേഷമുള്ള ആദ്യത്തെ പൊതുതെരഞ്ഞെടുപ്പാണ്. അതിന് ഒരു രാഷ്ട്രീയ പ്രാധാന്യമുണ്ടല്ലോ.
നിങ്ങൾ രണ്ടാളും കൂടി പറഞ്ഞാൽ
പൗരത്വത്തിലെത്തി ഈ പ്രകാശ് ജാവ്ദേക്കർ തന്നെ കണ്ടിരുന്നു. പക്ഷേ സൗഹൃദമായ ഒരു കൂടിക്കാഴ്ച മാത്രമായിരുന്നു അതെന്നാണ് ഇ.പി. ജയരാജന്റെ ഇത്. പക്ഷേ പാർട്ടിയെ കാര്യം അറിയിച്ചിട്ടുമില്ല. 10 മിനിറ്റോളം
സംസാരിച്ചിരുന്നു എന്നാണ് നമുക്കൊരു പ്രതികരിച്ചത്. അതില് സാധാരണ നിലക്ക് നമ്മൾ കാണേണ്ടത് ഈ ഇ.പി. ജയരാജന്റെ പ്രകൃതം എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാലോ. ഈ എല്ലാവരുമായും നല്ല സുഹൃത്ബന്ധം വെക്കുന്ന ഒരാളാണ് ജയരാജൻ. പക്ഷേ സാധാരണ നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിലൊരു പഴഞ്ചൊല്ലുണ്ടല്ലോ,
Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan essentially speaking about a comment by E.P. Jayaraj that's triggered a bit of a controversy and a talking point in Kerala, which I'll explain to you in just a bit.
ഇന്ന് ആരെയാണ് വഞ്ചിക്കേണ്ടത് എന്ന് ആലോചിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ആ പുറക്കു തെളിയുന്ന ആളുകളുണ്ട്. അത്തരം ആളുകളുമായി കൂട്ടുകെട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ലോഹ്യം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിർകവിഞ്ഞ സ്നേഹബന്ധം അതൊക്കെ സാധാരണഗതിയിൽ ഉപേക്ഷിക്കേണ്ടതാണ്. ഇതിൽ സഖാവ് ജയരാജൻ ഇത്തരം കാര്യങ്ങളിൽ വേണ്ടത്ര ജാഗ്രത കാണിക്കാറില്ല എന്നത് നേരത്തെ തന്നെ ഉള്ള ഒരു അനുഭവമാണ്. അതിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായി ഈ കേരളത്തിൽ ഏറ്റവും അധികം സംശയകരമായ സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ നിൽക്കുന്നൊരു വ്യക്തിക്ക് ഇതിൻ്റെ സാക്ഷിയായി വരാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞു എന്നത് നാം കാണേണ്ടതായിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആ മനുഷ്യനാണെങ്കിൽ എങ്ങനെയായാലും എനിക്ക് പണം കിട്ടണം എന്ന ചിന്ത മാത്രമുള്ളയാളാണ്. ആരാണോ പണം കൊടുക്കുന്നത് അതിനനുസരിച്ച് വാദങ്ങൾ അണിനിരത്താൻ ഒരു മടിയുമില്ലാത്ത ഒരാൾ. അത്തരം ആളുകളുമായിട്ടുള്ള ബന്ധമോ ലോക്യമോ പരിചയമോ പരിചയം ഇപ്പോൾ ആർക്കും വേണ്ടതായിട്ട് വരും. പക്ഷേ ആ പരിചയത്തിനപ്പുറമുള്ള ഒരു നില സ്വീകരിച്ചു പോകരുത്.
We'll play out the relevant statement really from the Kerala Chief Minister. He's speaking about a number of other issues that reporters are quizzing him on. We'll play out his message to Keralites on this very, very crucial day of polling day in Kerala. Those are images from earlier today of the Kerala Chief Minister casting his vote in Pinnarai in Kannur of Kerala along with his family members. So let's once again bring our focus back to Karnataka. We were, of course, talking about the significance of South Karnataka and those images on your screen. So some of the big faces have come out to cast their votes. Nabila Jamal is joining us live from Bengaluru, from Mount Carmel College, which is a very, very significant polling booth in the city. You'll see all of the biggest stars turning up there. Nabila, namaskara, good morning. Your conversation with students is something that's set social media on fire. Everyone's talking about how smart youngsters in Bengaluru are, how much of an opinion they have. You've kind of shown the world what Bengaluru is about.
Absolutely, Akshita, Bengaluru is an education hub, so you can surely find opinionated voices. If I can get a few voices from here, it's election day, you've come here right early in the morning. What's the mood?
Mood is enthusiastic.
All right, so you've woken up nice and early. Is there anything you envision for this country? What would you?
Prosperity and progress.
Prosperity and progress. Okay, for prosperity and progress, speaking of the political parties here, we know it is a litmus test for the JDS and the BJP as an alliance. The Congress, wanting to shape its national ambitions, will really look at expanding its numbers from 1 even to 10. Their target is 15, but internal surveys of the Congress itself say that they could roughly get something about 8 to 10. We've got to wait for June 4th for that number, but here in Karnataka, we know at least 14 seats are going to elections, and we see a nice good turnout in the urban areas, which is fairly satisfactory because urban apathy is real. We know that usually it's the urban pockets that where we see less voter turnout. This time, we're hoping that changes. There's been several drives by the civic body, the BBMP here across Bengaluru, the four constituencies that come under Bengaluru district, where they boost voter motivate them to come out and cast their vote. 246 candidates, and their fate is now being put to test, of which 21 of them are women. For the BJP, they are dominant in the coastal areas of Karnataka, where 14 seats are collectively going to elections this time. We know the BJP is powerful in the coastal regions. In the southern parts of Karnataka, they're banking on the JDS's popularity. So the Congress is also quite strong in the southern parts of Karnataka. This is surely going to be a test for both parties, as it is an entry port of sorts for the BJP as a party here in the southern parts of India, where you see the huge lines here. If I can get some voices, would you like to tell us your moods today ahead of elections? I mean, you're here nice and early to cast your vote.
Yeah, we are waiting for our turn, and
Has it been a smooth process?
Yeah, it has been.
Okay. Would you like to give your comment to us? What would you like to? How would you envision this country?
Well, it is the next generation that is going to decide now. So we are hoping that people do turn out, vote, and help decide. Yeah.
बहुत अच्छा नेता आना चाहिए भाई. देश के अंदर तो उन्नति होता है.
उन्नति
बहुत
responsibility आपका है.
बिल्कुल है.
बिल्कुल. You're showing your exercising your franchise today.
Yeah, I mean, we're always excited for voting day. So again, back again, and hoping that whatever we choose, we decide it all gets in prosperity
All
for
right,
the country.
that's what it's all about, right? And you, ma'am, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, improving. Improvement, yeah, exactly. Better than the last year, though.
All right, better than last year. The turnout seems fairly good. The popular candidates here in Karnataka that's going to elections, of course, Tejasvi Surya, Shobha Karanlaje. We know a few other candidates, including the one and only Muslim candidate for the Congress is Mansoor from Bangalore Central, where I'm at. PC Mohan is seeking a 4th term, again from Bengaluru Central. That's the constituency where I'm at. DK Shivkumar's brother, DK Suresh, is seeking a re-election. So, highly exciting election process here in Karnataka.
All right, the highly exciting election process there, and it's really interesting where the state of Karnataka is concerned. Split even ways. The south of Karnataka going to election this time. Third phase will be the north. What's the biggest political takeaway? Well, it's a moment of reckoning for the JDS and where the Vokaliga vote will go. And we'll only know when that last vote is counted on what comes of that.